Have you ever had the feeling that God was trying to tell you something? Not through a loud voice, not through a dramatic miracle, but through small moments you couldn't ignore. A conversation, a delay, a closed door, a verse that kept appearing, a message that found you at exactly the right time, a feeling deep inside your spirit that refused to go away. And maybe you've been wondering lately, is God trying to get my attention? Because something feels different. You can't fully explain it. You can't fully understand it. But you know something is happening. And if that's you, listen carefully. Because one of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting God to always speak in obvious ways. They wait for lightning. They wait for a miracle. They wait for a sign so undeniable that no faith is required. But throughout history, God has often spoken through things people almost missed. A whisper, a conviction, a burden, a redirection, a delay, a door that suddenly closes, a door that unexpectedly opens. Because sometimes God's voice is not hidden. Sometimes we're simply distracted. Distracted by noise, distracted by fear, distracted by our own plans, distracted by what we want God to say, instead of listening to what He is actually saying. And maybe that's why this message found you today, because God has been trying to get your attention, not to scare you, not to condemn you, not to shame you, but to guide you, to redirect you, to prepare you, to wake you up spiritually. Because sometimes we become so focused on our routine that we stop noticing what God is doing around us. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and before we realize it, we've stopped paying attention. We still pray, we still believe, but we stop listening. And there's a difference, because prayer is speaking to God, but spiritual awareness is learning how to recognize when God is speaking back. And no, that doesn't always mean hearing a voice. Sometimes it means recognizing patterns, recognizing conviction, recognizing opportunities, recognizing warnings, recognizing peace. Because one of the ways God often speaks is through what He places inside your spirit. Have you noticed certain thoughts keep returning? Certain dreams won't leave your mind? Certain convictions keep growing stronger? Certain situations keep appearing over and over again? Maybe that's not coincidence. Maybe that's guidance. Because God has a way of repeating things when we're not paying attention the first time. And honestly, many people pray for direction while ignoring the direction they've already received. They ask God for another sign, another confirmation, another answer. Meanwhile, God is saying, I already showed you. And maybe that's what this season is about. Maybe it's not that God has been silent. Maybe it's that He's been speaking in ways you weren't expecting. Because God often works through nudges, a feeling that won't leave, a truth you can't escape, a conviction that keeps returning, a burden that keeps growing, and eventually, those small nudges become impossible to ignore, because God loves us too much to let us drift forever. Sometimes He whispers, sometimes He nudges, sometimes He redirects, sometimes He closes doors. Sometimes He creates discomfort, not because He's angry, but because He's trying to lead us somewhere better. And maybe that's exactly what's happening right now. Maybe the discomfort you've been feeling has a purpose. Maybe the restlessness you've been carrying has a purpose. Maybe the reason certain things no longer satisfy you has a purpose. Because spiritual growth often begins when God starts disrupting your comfort, not to punish you, but to wake you up, to help you see what you've been missing, help you notice what He's been building, to help you recognize what He's been preparing. And sometimes, the greatest blessings begin with the simple realization: God has been trying to get my attention. Because once that happens, everything changes. You start seeing things differently. You start noticing patterns. You start recognizing God's hand in places where you once saw coincidence. And suddenly, the closed door makes more sense. The delay makes more sense. The waiting makes more sense. Because you're no longer focused only on what God hasn't done, you're beginning to notice what He is doing. And that shift changes everything. Because grateful people notice what frustrated people overlook. Spiritually aware people notice what distracted people miss. And maybe today, God is inviting you into that awareness. Maybe He's inviting you to slow down, to listen, to pay attention, to stop rushing past the moments where He's trying to speak. Because what if the answer you've been praying for is already closer than you think? What if the confirmation you've been asking for has already appeared multiple times? What if the reason you feel this message so deeply is because God has been trying to tell you something for a while now? Something important. Something that could change the direction of your life. Something that could bring clarity. Something that could bring healing. Something that could bring purpose. But first, you have to notice it. You have to stop long enough to see it. You have to become willing to listen. Because God rarely forces His way into our lives. He invites, He leads, He guides. And those who learn to pay attention often discover that God was speaking all along. And maybe that's what you'll realize one day about this season. You'll look back and understand. God was trying to get my attention. Through the delays, through the opportunities, through the discomfort, through the people, through the lessons, through the doors He opened, and through the doors He closed. He was guiding me the entire time. And maybe He's guiding you right now, not away from your purpose, but toward it. Not away from your blessing, but toward it. Not away from your future, but toward it. Because God doesn't get your attention to hold you back. He gets your attention to move you forward, to prepare you, to strengthen you, to position you for what comes next. And perhaps the most important thing you can do today is simply stop and ask, God, what are you trying to show me? Because that question has the power to change everything. And when you ask it sincerely, you may begin noticing things you never saw before. The guidance, the protection, the opportunities, the preparation, the purpose. Because God has been closer than you realize, more active than you realize, more involved than you realize. And maybe this message itself is part of that. Maybe this isn't random. Maybe this is one more way God is trying to get your attention. One more reminder that He sees you. One more reminder that He is guiding you. One more reminder that He is still working. So let this be your prayer tonight. God, open my eyes to what you are trying to show me. Help me recognize your guidance. Help me hear your voice above the noise, and help me trust the direction you are leading me, because I don't want to miss what you're doing in my life. If you feel this message, comment, "I'm listening," and subscribe for daily reflections.